Human existence is a changing landscape in which one generation gives way to the next. We are sandwiched between two relatively constant factors. One is the sky above, and the other is the land on which we stand, both of which are common to all, regardless of age, gender, nationality, or creed. The sky has borne witness, and the land has played host to the rise and fall of civilizations for thousands of years. The current civilization of which we are part is not exempt from this. There will come a time when every human being alive today will not be there and will be replaced by a fresh crop of humans yet to come. From our individual perspectives, the physical body is the foundation on which life plays out. Amongst all species of life, humans have the unique gift of perception by which we can observe and interact with other life forms all around us. This interaction happens in the space we call the mind. The mind is a meet and greet place for our perceptions of the world. Amongst the vast crowd of constantly changing perceptions, we start to pick and choose, and as a result, our own unique world begins to take shape, and we also form a distinct viewpoint of the outer world. The mind is wedged between the body and an innate ability to perceive that lies deep within all of us, which is separate from the mind. This ability does not originate in the mind, but rather it filters through the mind. That deep place from which our perceptive ability comes about is neutral ground, unlike the mind where we're constantly pushed towards analysis and interpretations, which makes us take opposing positions of likes and dislikes. We rarely experience that neutral ground from where we can perceive without interpretation. Most of our attention and energy is focused within the mind. The mind is in a constant state of flux and transformation from one form to another. That change manifests in the movement of thoughts, which happen to be its building blocks. With such a rapid turnover of thoughts every hour of each day, unknowingly we expend a huge amount of time and effort to remain in tune with the mind. Despite all the efforts required on our part, we continue to persist with keeping up with the mind. Why is this? An answer perhaps lies in the fact that we have forgotten the simplicity and value of just being there as a witness to everything. Like our two hands, there are two sides to our being. One side is intimately involved with and interacts in the mind space, and the other aspect is simply that of a watcher, a neutral witness. These two modes, the interactive and the witnessing or watching aspects, have distinct differences between them. In the interactive space, there is a strong link between effort and reward. Let's face it, majority, if not all the effort we put in on a day-to-day basis, in every sphere of our life, is done with an expectation of a reward of one kind or another. Even charitable acts that may appear completely altruistic on the surface carry a hidden current of expectation. If we take an honest assessment of all our efforts, we may see a thread that links every effort to an expectation of a reward deep within the mind. That reward could be just a feeling of happiness that we expect. Even that can become an expectation when not met. The opposing feeling, which is misery, takes root. We seem to be highly adaptable to the changing scenes in the mind. We conform to the mind, accepting its twists and turns that the mind puts us through on a day-to-day basis. We persist because the mind silently promises that happiness is just around the corner, and all we have to do is bear a little suffering in the meantime. Most of us are hoping to win the mental lottery, which promises reward with an experience of a lifetime of happiness and satisfaction. The other aspect of our being, which is that of a neutral watcher, may be compared to the sky. No matter how many clouds pass through the sky, none of them can leave a permanent mark on the sky. If the sky could talk, being witness to all that has gone on for thousands of years, imagine all the secrets that would rain down upon us. That inner watcher is not in the mind, it's not a product of the mind, and it's not involved with the mind in any fashion. One way to test this concept is to unlink ourselves from the mind for a brief period of time. The mind is synonymous with thoughts. We can watch our thoughts as if we are a third-person observer. Interpretation or analysis happens all the time in the background, and this may go on even as we begin to watch our thoughts. This is where we ought to be careful. Interpretation and analysis as we watch our thoughts implies we're using one set of thoughts as the watchtower to watch the rest of the mind. By doing so, we have not left the mind, we're very much in the mind, although we may feel that we're on neutral ground watching the mind from a third-person perspective. It is only by putting aside interpretation and analysis and continuing to watch our thoughts do we get a taste of the neutral watcher, which can stand apart from the mind. We won't disappear if we don't keep up with the mind or keep pace with the mind. As we develop the ability to watch the mind and thoughts from an outsider perspective, or from neutral ground, the movements of mind and thought will slow down, and we may see more of life in a better and a broader perspective. Our perception will then become like a wide-angle lens of a camera. We can take in more of life without us expecting it. We may be rewarded with a richer and more granular experience than ever before.